So guys, two absolutely shocking things happened this week showing democracy has been usurped. Free speech is in the bin, and these are massive. You've not heard about this, so please stick with me. You're going to be shocked. First one, in Brazil. So Brazil had a rigged election. Lula, the left, obviously rigged it. They won by 50.1%. Yeah, right. They had about 1,000 people in their winning rally. Bolsonaro on the opposition, the right, had million people marches everywhere and a real insurrection of the capital because people were so upset. What did the Supreme Court do? They banned him from ever standing again. Yeah, this is what they do. They destroy your opposition. So they said, you're banned. Still not enough. What was happening? Pro-Bolsonaro people were online, free speech, and saying, pro things. What has the Supreme Court done? It's been revealed by Elon Musk. They sent messages to Twitter, formerly X, formerly Twitter, and told them, you have to clamp down on this and you have to stop banning these people. Twitter said, no, we're part of free speech. They said, okay, if you do not, we are going to fine you every day. Elon Musk just revealed, because of these fines, the Brazil office will be bankrupt soon and they will be closing in Brazil very soon. That is how they destroy your free speech. That is how they usurp democracy. They ban any other platforms or any of you getting any information about the other side, and you're only fed one set of lies. George Orwell, 1984, totalitarianism. That's how it works. So that's Brazil. Now, Europe has even worse. Europe, Switzerland just voted through a referendum, democratic referendum, Switzerland being highly democratic, probably in the world. Through a democratic referendum, they said, we don't want any more of the net zero rubbish. We don't want EV mandates. We don't renewables. Get out of my face. Okay, went to the ECHR, which is the European Court of Human Rights. And they struck it down. Now, whoa, I know you're thinking, what the hell has climate change got to do with human rights? Well, don't worry. They managed to figure it out. They said not implementing climate change rules infringes of the human rights of the children born later because you're going to reduce the climate. Did you hear that? The ECHR was invented for refugees, for people being harmed by bad governments. They've now usurped it and twisted it and now said, no one in Europe can issue anti-net zero policies, and you have to implement net zero policies. If not, you're over people's human rights. So every country, including the UK, which is not in the EU, or the EU, and Switzerland, which isn't in the EU, has to implement EV mandates, has to implement costly renewable energy mandates, and that's it. They have to do it. Now, regardless of what you vote for, regardless of who is in power, they now have to do it. Now, guys, is that not tyranny? Is that not tyranny? Let's see the wording of what they use, because you're going to be shocked. Here we go, over here. Democracy cannot be reduced to the will of the majority of the electorate and elected representatives in disregard of the requirement of the rule of law. Do you hear this Orwellian speech? Democracy, which is meant to create laws and override rules, we don't care about that. There's rules, and democracy can never break this. Now, who institutes this and invents this? A cabal of elite. And that's it. So there is no more democracy. You can vote whoever you want. You can never override an EV mandate. You can never override a climate change mandate. Now remember, climate change is the biggest load of rubbish invented using crappy science and just lies and just made up funded studies by the people, interest groups that need it. So all those studies are a lie. Anyway, it's junk. Come on, guys. We know UK's just had the wettest year on record. All the crops are all dead. They've had that much rain. But don't worry, there's supposed climate change. Anyway, really, really, really bad lies. And now it doesn't matter who you vote. It doesn't matter about the will of the people. You just read it. Democracy cannot override the rule of law. Who is meant to make the rule of law? Well, not democracy. Certainly not the elected bodies. That's what they're saying. This started, by the way, in Israel in 1995, where the court there usurped power and started saying anything that the parliament says or it states as law, we can override by saying if it's reasonable or unreasonable. The Parliament can say one thing, we deem it unreasonable, we don't need judicial precedent or anything, we can overrule the law. That's what's been happening in Israel since 1995, and so obviously Israel is a tyrannical dictatorship of left-wing psychos, which is what it is. There's no democracy here at all. I have no idea why the US is trying to get rid of Netanyahu so badly, because he has no power. He has no power, right? And this is what we have now in Europe now. It's a done deal. They have to pass it. And now what's stopping them getting involved in more things? I like beer. All pubs have to provide free beer. It's a human right for people who want beer to have free beer. I want money. All governments have to provide free welfare. Why not? You're infringing on my human rights. Do you understand? Gender terminology, pronouns. If you don't, you're infringing on someone's human rights. That's going to be instituted. You'll go to jail if you misgender somebody. It has no end now, because they can use this. ECHR, which is a tiny little unelected human rights body, can now stick their nose in absolutely everything and deem it not against human rights. Plastic bags. Oh, you don't institute a plastic bag charge against the human rights. That is what they've done, by the way. You have to have renewable energy. You have to have EV mandates. You have to do it, because if not, it's against people's human rights. We are now officially way more undemocratic and way more zero free speech than Russia or China. Well, maybe not China, but definitely more than Russia. And that is the way it is. You have to face that fact. It doesn't matter who you vote. It doesn't matter what you vote. The rules are the rules, and the people in charge stay the people in charge, and there's nothing you can do. And if you say something wrong, you will go to jail.